Hey there, how's it going? Great to see you. We've got a new update today for the Yolobox OG, not the Pro this time. We've got a whole heap of new features for the OG box, and well, let's just have a look through the list and see what's here. The first one is auto switching, which lets you set the Yolobox up to automatically switch between video sources. We've got the ability to duplicate and reuse a project, so when you've done a live stream, you want the same stuff, you can duplicate it and reuse the settings in it instead of setting it up from scratch each time. We've got two new multi-view templates, which is the news layout and the triple layout. There are two new graphic overlays, being titles and social overlays. There's the ability to auto hide an overlay after a certain amount of time that you can set. That's a really cool feature. There are more shapes for the picture-in-picture overlay. These are the masks used around the picture-in-picture overlay. I'll show you that one as well shortly. There's the new fade to black video transition, and also timing set on SD card videos so you can see how far into it you are and how much time you've got left before it finishes. There's also the animated GIF overlays available now, super chat overlays, and of course the ability to delete multiple projects at once as a batch instead of having to do them one at a time. Okay, so that's the list. Let's switch to the Yolobox itself now and have a look at these things. So I've set up a project here on my Yolobox. I've got a few cameras hooked into it, and I've put in an SD card that's got a whole pile of resources. So let's just start by opening up this test 1 project I've got here. As you can see, I've got 3 cameras in here, 2 HDMI cameras, and of course my USB camera. We'll have a look at how you can auto switch between these cameras. This is something you might want to have if you're at an event where you just want to switch between the cameras at certain times or have a certain sequence of the cameras. You can do this and not have to attend the Yolobox so much and let it do its thing and only come back and actually deal with the Yolobox interface when you need to for something special. So to set up auto switching, you just click on the auto switch icon down here, and then you can set up video sources. Now the video sources that it's going to use for the switching will be in the order that you select them. So I'm just going to go HDMI 1, HDMI 2 and then USB. I'll click done. And as you can see, it's got those in that order and with 10 seconds each on them. Just to show you, I can clear those and I can just go HDMI 2, USB and then HDMI 1. If I do that, then they appear in that order. You can just tap on the times and set the different time that you want it to run, the duration here. I'm just going to set each of those for 2 seconds just to make it nice and quick for the demo so that we don't have to literally sit around for 2 minutes waiting to have a look at how it works. And then I've got that on loop here so that it's just going to repeat. If you just want it to do it once, you can turn the loop off and it will just play those 3 in order. There are a couple of settings in here for the auto switching. First of all is the switch order, which in this case is sequential at the moment, or I could choose it to be random. If it's random, it will just randomly move between the sources that you've selected. If it's sequential, it will do them in the order that you've selected. The next one down here is the main video source. Now, if you have selected sequential video sources and you choose a main one, then what it will do is it will start with the one you select as the main video source, then it will go to the next one in the list. And then it will keep coming back to the main one every second set, so that it will be a lot more dominant during the playback. So I'm just going to leave that as sequential and not set a main video at the moment. Then what I can do is come up to here, I'll hit start auto switching, and then every 2 seconds the image here will change to the next camera in the list. And it will do that in the order that I've got here. You can see how long it's got on each switch as well. So I'll disable that for now and come back and have a look at the next feature. The next feature we've got is the ability to reuse a project. So here's the project that I've just been working on, which is test 1. I can click on the epsilon up here, which is this triple dot thing here, and choose duplicate. It'll let me give it a new title, so I'll call it test 2. Done. And create. There we go, and I can do that again. Duplicate it, test 3, and done. Create. And as you can see, it comes up with new projects. and each of these projects has the same setting as the first one. I can also set the time that those are going to be played and the date, which is really useful because then I can set, say, a whole series of daily live streams that have the same basic settings in them, and that can save you a lot of time in reworking and setting things up from scratch. But now let's jump back into my test 1 project and have a look at the 2 new multi-view layouts. To do that, I can just click on add a video source, and as you can see, the multi-view layouts we have are the picture-in-picture, split view and side by side, but there's now a new news layout, and I can just drag and scroll that up, and we've also got a triple layout. The news layout is a 2-frame split, which looks a bit like this. I can just choose a main picture here, just that one, then I click next and choose the second picture, HDMI 2, and that gives me a layout that looks like this. As you can see, I can set a background color here if I want to, just by choosing it from this palette, and I can also choose a background image. And what I can do is I can change the opacity as well of the background image so that the background color comes through and make it more subtle and less distracting. It also means that you can take any background image, say a photo of a city or something, set a background color that might be a theme of your show, and if you make the background image sort of 50% opaque, then the background image color comes through and starts tinting it. It can be quite useful. The other layout we've got is the triple layout. We can click on that there, and I can just choose 3 different video sources from here, and they come up side by side. You can also change the border thickness of these just to create that gap in the middle, make it a bit larger if you wish. The center button here is basically for choosing whether you want to use the center of the frame or use the edges of the frame. At the moment it's going to pick the center of each of these 3. If I turn it off, it's going to get the left of the left hand image, the center of the middle image, and the right hand side of the right hand image. The next thing to look at is the additional mask shapes available for the picture-in-picture overlay. If I create a new video source here, and I'm going to choose PIP video, you can see that I can set a background here using that, for example, and just use this lovely picture of me in the middle for the picture-in-picture. By default, that comes up in this rectangle that I can drag around the screen like this, and I can change the size of that one. Of course, we're familiar with this, and the subscreen. And now we've got this new selector here, the subscreen shape. So what I can do is click on that one, and I can choose the circular one, and now the picture-in-picture image comes up as a circle. I can also make it this diamond shape if I want. As you can see, we can still scale that up. This is just a neat fun way to make something happen a little bit differently with picture-in-picture and style your videos so that they stand out from the average Joe Blog rectangle. Now sometimes you just want to cut away from the video altogether and let people have a bit of an eye rest for a fraction of a second, and to do that we can fade to black now. If you click on the settings gear down in the bottom corner here, it opens up the settings menu, and we can have a look at video source transitions. I'll just click on that, and this opens up the transitions that we're used to seeing, where you got your crossfades and wipes and all that sort of thing. And there's this new button up the top here which is fade to black, so I can just click on that there and it fades everything to black. So now there's no audio or no video coming through. I can now select a new video and that will fade in. It's a fairly simple thing, of course, but it does give you another cutting option. This can be particularly useful if you actually want to pull an HDMI cable out and put a different camera in and then fade between those. So you could fade to black, pull an HDMI plug out, plug another one in, click on it again once it comes up and fade back through. Really useful. The next thing to look at is timing on SD card videos. I'm just going to add a video here as a source and show you what I mean by the timing. So down here I can just click on add video source and choose one of my local video options here. I'll just grab that one and I'll pick the other video I've got here and click done. Now you'll see down here I've got that local video pops up, and I can tap on that now, and you'll see that on the top of it it's got a little timer here. It's quite small, but it's useful, and you can see when that's counting down as your video plays through. This is really useful so that you can see when your video is coming to an end or how long it's been playing for, so you don't get caught out when you need to switch off and move on to something else. The next one I've got here is animated GIF overlays, and these are really good when you basically want to add some cheese to your video. It might be a seasonal thing, something you're wanting to do, or you might create some really pro looking animated GIFs that you can combine with the news layout, for example, to have a really flash looking thing. But I'm just going to show you a cheesy one here at the moment because it was easy for me to find. I click on create a new overlay and just going to use an image overlay, and I've got some animated GIFs in here that I can use. Here's a border. If I pull that up and turn that on, as you can see, the transparent background works beautifully, so the GIF transparency is fine. And this one's not the right aspect ratio, but here you go, I've got a border around me that's all animated and flashiness now, so you can see how that works. If I reselect the picture, I could choose one of these ones which is a chart here. For example, if I was doing some sort of fancy thing, I could move that over to here, and I could talk about the finances involved in this chart, or whatever the hell else it's talking about. But yeah, useful sort of thing you can do and use animated GIFs for. Now, while I've got this one here, you'll notice that there's also an auto hide button sitting on the screen here. If I click on the auto hide, and you can do this with any overlay, it will now see how long it is that you want it to be up for before it disappears. So I can click done on that one, and now if I bring that overlay up, it'll appear there and it'll hang around for 10 seconds, and when I finish talking for 10 seconds it'll just slowly fade away, or quickly fade away, just like that. So yeah, this auto hiding of things can be really useful, so you don't just forget they're still on the screen when you're talking to camera. It'll just go away when it's ready. Speaking of social media overlays, we've got those as well. I'm just going to click here and create a new overlay, and I've got the social overlays thing here now. This is a brand new one. I can have a look at that and change which of the social media platforms I want it to be for. I've got Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn and Instagram there by default, and you can also customize it by pulling in an image to suit your own one if you're using something else that's not already on the list. I'm just going to go YouTube for now, and then you can put your username in there as well. So Tim Simpson, but we all know that's my account name, so hit OK there, and that comes up there and tells you who I am on YouTube. You can scale that down, of course, so that it's not quite so flashy, and there you go. So there's another overlay I can use. I can turn that one on and fades in and turn it off. Unfortunately, the social overlays at the moment don't have the auto hide, but I'm pretty sure that'll be coming soon. Now, the other overlay that's been made available this time has resulted from all of us using the lower thirds and pulling that up the screen, taking all the graphics off and turning it into a title. So they've given us the new titles overlay. So once again, just click on the plus to create a new overlay. This time we can click on titles, and it's got a few new layouts in here which are more suitable for titles. The first one up here is just a nice welcome type one. You can change everything in the settings here, the text type, text color, framing and all that sort of thing. And you can see there's this simple corner title, the bold center one, and this one down in the bottom right, which you can use to display a combination of text and a logo, which is really useful as well. And once again, you can just tap on it to fade it in and tap again to fade it out. The next thing on here that's really kind of useful is the super chat overlay. I can show you a bit of that at the moment, but I'm not actually running a live stream, so I can't show you all of how it works, but you'll get the idea. So the super chat is just this speech bubble icon at the bottom, third one from the right, and I don't have any comments on here because I'm not actually running a stream. But if I click on the icon up in the top right corner, you'll see that it gives me these options. Now, these are the chat overlays that we've seen before, but now they've added a little bit more highlighting in there for people who are doing super chats, so that they just feel a little bit more special and more recognized for the money that they've just sent you. As you can see in these, it's got that little $9.99, which I think is a great suggestion for how much they should be pushing up, and you can just select one of those and it will bring up a super chat that looks like this. You can use any of those templates and obviously change everything in here, including the fonts and colors. And the thing I like down the bottom here is that you can actually make it partly transparent. I think that looks really neat, and scale it down a bit if you don't want it being quite so dominant on the screen. Like all of these things, you can drag it around the screen. This is one of the great features of the Yolobox I really like, is that ability to change layout just by dragging around very quickly. And there you go, that's done as well. And finally, we've got the ability to tidy up when you've finished doing a bit of live streaming and get rid of all your past stuff. So now if you've got multiple projects up here that you've completed, you can just hold down briefly on one of them and then just tap this checkbox in the top corner of each one and then hit delete, and it will give the option to delete all of those at once. And that can just save you a little bit of time when you're cleaning up. Anyway, that's the new features for 3.8.1 of the Yolobox OG. It brings it pretty much up to date with the features of the Yolobox Pro. Obviously, there's still stuff the Pro can do that the OG can't, and that's just all about newer processor and the extra inputs and stuff. Which one should you get? I recommend just getting all of them because they're all fantastic boxes. And of course, don't forget the ability to use one Yolobox as a video source for the other. So if you're not sure what the value is in updating, don't forget that you can do that as well. Anyway, I hope that's been useful to you. If it has, please do subscribe by clicking here and hit the notify bell. Don't forget to use all of these share and like and everything buttons down below. Watch this video and this video as well. Leave any comments or questions or anything you've got in the comment section below, and I will see you in another video real soon. See you later.